So, welcome, John, to another episode of the podcast, Waves of Change. And it's a little bit different situation right now because you've been hosting the last episodes of this podcast, and now you're invited to be a guest. And I, Pamela von Sabljar, is hosting. So I'm curious, John, how does it feel to sit where you're sitting right now and not being in charge and being the host? And with that, I also would like to throw in the first question. Like, how does it feel to be here right now? And who are you?
I feel that a part of me wants to go into this host role and say like, "Hey, Pamela, great that you're here. Tell us about you." Yeah, I just smile at myself, and it's it's a beautiful experience, and I'm getting used to it. It's a new experience sitting on this side, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation. And who am I?
Yeah, and I also just have to say that I can notice that I get quite curious on what are the different roles you have had in your life, and maybe what roles maybe created a lot of who you are, and what roles did you need to let go of to become who you really are?
Beautiful. This is going to be a rich conversation. So I would start with who am I right now, and then go into these other roles that might have shaped me. Who am I right now? I would say I am John. I'm an author, coach, and facilitator, and I empower people to live a life of inner peace, of joy, and authenticity. And I do that in these various roles through coachings, writing children's books, facilitating workshops, um, this podcast, speaking to other people, getting to know other people and their life stories. I do that also as a musician, play on festivals and retreats. And for me, it's often really about like authenticity and aliveness. That really drives me. And I'm really excited about when I meet my own authenticity and aliveness, but also when I meet others and when I can contribute to like this unfolding of innocence, this unfolding of this essence of another person. And that's what I find really, really exciting. Yeah.
I can notice I get curious about because I hear you use the labels. You didn't say artist, but I heard musician, and I heard coach, facilitator, and author. And have these labels or skills been being with you like since this early, or has they like grown on you? And which one was maybe most present when you were a child?
When I was a child, I would say I started coaching when I was 6 years old. When I was 6, my brother was born. And in in that time, I've somehow decided that I'm just going to do everything and to the best of my ability and capacity to support this human being in unfolding in the most beautiful way. I just decided that. And I did that for many, many, many years. And then, I don't know, one and a half decades later, I realized that some people call this coaching and it's a profession. But for me, it was just like being the older brother. So that's
Mm,
definitely been with me for a very, very long time.
mm.
Uh,
I can notice we have something in common because I did that to my little brother as well. I've never ever named it as coaching. I've more seen it like I was supporting him and giving him stuff that I didn't get. I was like almost 13 years older than him when he was born. So I get curious on like, in what way, like, in what way did you support him?
I would say that it shaped like how I did it, like what I applied, so to say. The older I got, the more I learned. But it was, I think one part was showing skills, like teaching, you could call it. With music, for example, I taught him to play the first chords on the guitar, the first notes on the piano. We sang together. We had a band together, the Tiptoes, by the way. Incredible band, best band in the world. And then I also showed him how to play with Lego, how to create your own world through painting and drawing and imagination. So a lot of sharing, but alongside it, I think it had these different roles actually. One is more like the teacher role, I guess. The other one was more the companion. Let's play together. Let's create something together. I think these were the most prominent ones. And then the more I learned, um, the more I could share with them of what I experienced of the world and how, when I was 12, how I thought that the world worked, which I now understand that's a little bit different than what I thought back then. But I always tried to share with them, yeah, with an open heart and from this place of, I really want you to have an amazing life. And this is what I know, what makes it feel amazing for me. And here you go. And then you can see for yourself.
And I'm also aware of that you're an author. You do children's books. And I'm curious of like it's almost like I see connection points between your relationship to your brother and how you write in your children's books. Where did that come from, that impulse of writing to children? Like what's the story behind it? Because I imagine that also tells a bit about who you are.
It started 3 years ago. I was at the a New Year's brunch of my partner in Portugal, the 1st of January. And we're sitting there together. And there was also her cousin, whose name is Lara. She was 4 years old at that time. And there was also her godfather. And he had experienced probably some challenging things in his life, which shows sometimes in these sudden anger bursts. And on this New Year's brunch, there was one of these moments where he just like completely lost it and had this anger burst, started shouting around. And I saw this little Lara, this 4-year-old little human being. And I thought, like, I wish from the bottom of my heart that she can understand that his feelings are related to his world and not to hers. And as I also give trainings on nonviolent communication, like in nonviolent communication, there's this one relationship between feelings and needs, saying that feelings have a function, point towards our needs, and tell us what we need. And then I thought, if I could transmit this thought to her, that his feelings have to do somehow with his world, that could be a beautiful contribution to her. And I was thinking, okay, what would be the best format to convey this one thought? And I thought, okay, it's going to be a children's book. And I never had written any books before. I don't have children myself. My illustration skills stopped when I was 4 years old. I thought I'm the perfect person to do this. Yeah, that's how it started.
How many books have you done for now?
Now I wrote 3 books. And actually, 2 weeks ago, I published them in German. And 3 weeks ago, I published all of them in German, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. And I'm really celebrating that.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. And what are the other books about? Like one is about like that idea of your thoughts and feelings is yours, not mine, and understanding that concept. Is that correct? And the other one, what are the other ones? What are they about? The themes of these books.
The first one, as you said, about feelings and needs and nonviolent communication. The second one is on the topic of the nervous system and emotional regulation. Because I thought, wow, I just heard about this when I was like 26 or something. So this is something that affects me every single second of every day of my life. Why didn't anyone tell me earlier? It would be great if others, at least, could have the chance to learn that a little bit earlier. And the third one, which I just published, is on the topic of empathy and taking the perspective of others. Because I also thought, what what would be important for our world right now? I believe one of the things is just really being able to feel from the other person's perspective, regardless if we like it or not. But it's like, this is how you feel in this situation. Okay, understand it, and developing this empathy for others, but also for ourselves.
Mm. Is these books also in any way related to what you wish that you had when you were a child?
Question. Um, I I don't feel like that. It's more this. I think it's the same motivation that I had when sharing everything with my brother. It's like I really want that everyone can have an amazing life, and this is what I found, which makes my life amazing, and I really wish that for everyone else. I think that's where it's coming from. Mhm.
Is there anything else that you would like to share to paint the picture and share the stories that will describe more, like more fairly who you are?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. So I grew up in a family where I experienced a lot of love. Like I have this deep sense of trust in life and love that I got so much love from my mother. And I always say, if the world received 1% of this love, this world would be such a fantastic place. And this is one motivation that really drives me. It's like, I want the world to experience love. It's like, I know what it feels like to really deeply be loved. And I just want everyone else to experience the same thing in their version. That's very strong motivation for me. And also realizing this path that I've walked for myself, like I've experienced a lot of love, and I've also been on this path of feeling more and more free in myself. So my journey was kind of like many people resonate with that, like from my mind analyzing everything and thinking that thinking is the best of all qualities, and analyzing to dropping into my heart and realizing, wow, okay, there's also emotional intelligence and emotions that just connect us with ourselves and others, to dropping even more into my body and realizing I'm not just a walking brain. There's way more to this experience. And then expanding that also to, like, some would call it maybe the more subtle realms, and realizing, oh, there's even more out there. So I think this is also one arc of my journey, which is represented quite well, I think, in the things that I did throughout life. So the first, when I went to university, what I studied was robotics. It can't be more mind-driven than robotics. So I was thinking a lot about maths and physics and this kind of stuff. And then continue my journey towards studying medical engineering. Was like, okay, something with humans, but I can't really see blood that well, so maybe engineering could work. That was the next step. And then finding my way into this world of like strategy consulting, which I found very interesting. It felt like I was 24. On Monday mornings, I got put on my suit. I was living at the student's residency, and then I got picked up by a taxi, drove to the airport, went into business class, flew to Switzerland, and then I was working for fancy companies. And I thought I made it. I thought I'm the king of the world. I was literally convinced that this is the pinnacle of society. But then one day I realized, wait a minute, before doing this, I was playing in 3 bands. I was having volleyball training twice a week. I was seeing a lot of friends, and I had exchanged that for wearing a suit and creating PowerPoint slides at 11 p.m. 0 friends, 0 volleyball, 0 music. And this was one of the great moments of like opening my eyes to seeing what was actually going on for me. And having this notion of there must be more than that. And that really kickstarted a deep journey of my, I would say, like personal development, questioning who am I really, and what do I really want? And there went a lot into this world of personal development and inner work and learning a lot about myself. On the outside, it looked like I was working more on cultural transformation in organizations, supporting other organizations and teams to shape the culture that they actually wanted, because the culture that I had found before didn't really resonate with me and what felt good to me. And then that led me even deeper into coaching and working a lot of retreats and getting more and more also into the world of embodiment and learning all these different approaches of how we can connect to ourselves and to others, and and to love and truth and openness and inner peace, which I found way more fulfilling than sitting on a business class flight in my suit. Yeah, I think this is another part of the picture.
Mm. And what would you say when you made that shift from, you said like, oh, I'm more than my mind, like I'm more than my thinking, like, and you found like, whoa, this deep embodiment. Like, in what way did the world shift for someone who hasn't been on that journey? Like, what what could you see that was like really shifting? What was different?
That's a beautiful question. What was different?
I could share, like, if I would respond to that, I would say like, for me, it was just like one very small thing that I was more connected to my senses. So smell, taste, like being in awe and wonder for all the beauty that is around us in nature, in people's small actions, there became so much more present in my daily life. That is just one very small thing that for me shifted something when I'd like dropped from that part and included my mind and thinking deeper into the embodiment of me. So I'm just curious, like, how would you name it for someone who's maybe not there? And yeah, why would you, or would you like go for like searching for, oh, is there more than this?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's such a great question. And I feel that back then, in this moment of the shift or just before, I felt that I gave so much of who decides about my self-worth to others, that I made myself dependent on recognition. And if I had a suit or not, depended how good I feel about myself. And this dependence of only if I play by these rules, if I am seen in a certain way, then I feel loved, basically. And what shifted then is that I've got to feel just more like inner peace, like an inner relaxation of I needed less approval from the outer world, uh, and just felt also more alive. As you were speaking about the senses, I felt that my energy center was not just in my mind, but just feeling this, ah, there's so much more, and feeling this aliveness in my daily life, feeling this deeper relaxation in my life, and feeling how this affected my relationship and my relationships with others. Just like feeling more, yeah, connected in more depth, in a light way, not in a deep, heavy way, but in a light way. It's like, wow, enjoying life more.
Thank you. And I'm also realizing that we sit in a podcast studio right now in a very specific building. And this building's name is Emerge Lakefront. And it's a bit out of like the center of Stockholm in Sweden. And I'm curious about what took you here? Why did you arrive here? And what's your relationship to like Emerge Lakefront? I'm curious.
I remember that I was sitting in Lisbon this year, like 2025 in March. And in that time, I was starting a new version of my online coaching program.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, I'm just going to focus on that for a couple of months. I had been focusing on that for a couple of months, but it wasn't really working the way I wished for it to work. And I was like, getting really frustrated and getting also really low on energy. It was just me sitting in my room trying to create this online program somewhere in Lisbon. And I felt a strong longing for community and support. And this, oh, I would love to be surrounded by other people that in their way are trying to contribute to, yeah, to society and have their ways of doing that. And I could be inspired by them and also co-create together. That was the longing that I had. And then Emerge Lakefront popped up somewhere and someone shared about it. I thought, wow, this sounds interesting. Change makers coming together. I love inner work and I would love to be surrounded by people that also love inner work and want to contribute in a way to society. And that really attracted me. And also being part of this first a larger cohort that was invited after the first people had spent half a year or something like that. Yeah, that was really exciting for me.
So how has it been? What have you learned about yourself in it?
I'm not that patient.
That's
I think
interesting.
that's something that I learned about myself.
Yeah. And why do you think you should have that experience in your life journey right now? To know that you're patient, but you're not that patient. Why do you think that's happening for you right now in your evolutionary journey? I think that's quite interesting. Why are you having that experience, you think? Do you have any sense?
If I completely zoom out,
Uh,
I have the feeling that a large part of the last year, 2024, beginning of 2025, um, I connect with this energy of pushing and trying to force something into existence. And my experience was then the universe didn't respond in a way that I hoped, but the universe responded in a way that was necessary for me to feel like this is not your way of operating. Pushing does not work for you. And this showed itself in various aspects of my life. And I think at Lakefront in one part as well, it's like, it always comes from this place of, I can imagine that there's so much potential here and I want the greatest beauty for everything and everyone. And this is a genuine, very beautiful energy. And sometimes I then go into okay, now I'm going to push this through that it can be as beautiful as I can imagine it to be. And that I just experienced a couple of times in my life in the last year in different aspects of life. And zooming out, I can imagine this is one of the messages, maybe to move from like pushing or trying to create something to um, relaxing, trusting. And it's not that I don't trust. I always had a lot of trust in life, but in this realm of projects, um, inviting more than pushing. I think this is the message that I can see right now.
I think it's quite interesting what you're sharing because, like, this project, like a co-living community space called Emerge Lakefront. And what I've learned about Emergence is that the one way of fostering the conditions for emergence is enhancing your capacity of really listening and responding to what truly is there. Not what you want or desire or hope for, but really tending to what's here. So it sounds when you're describing, also when you shared before that, like aliveness view is like important, like it's a drive, like authenticity and aliveness is a drive of yours. And I also feel that really walking the path of aliveness is really pulling instead of pushing, like getting pulled by life, like being pulled towards where you feel aliveness instead of pushing and then using more force. And then actually, very often aliveness is killed because you step into a more forcing attitude. And in that place, we are more driven by lack and control than actually like abundance and deep trust. So I just think it's a little bit fascinating. Of yeah, I have this like one perspective that I enjoy living my life after, no matter if it's true or not. But for me, it's really deeply true, and that is that life happens for us, no matter if it serves pain or pleasure. And then sometimes it's very useful to zoom out and really look at, okay, if I look at my evolutionary journey and I'm looking at like the process that life takes me through and that I am a co-creator of, like, why am I in this? Like, why is this happening right now? That maybe can feel as a disappointment or like uncomfortableness or a bit painful maybe. Like if you have a deep passion and a love for something and you really want it to become something beautiful, or the way you see it, and it doesn't happen, it can be painful. And then just like not as a way of bypassing the pain, but as a way of like, hmm, what is the possibility here in this moment, no matter if it serves me pleasure or pain. And yeah, I have a lot of relatedness with you in this perspective of like that it is possible to have tons of patience, and in some moments you still find yourself be able to become even wiser and more attuned and listen even deeper and really saying, okay, so what's truly here? Uh, what is it that I'm not recognizing with this situation? So thank you for sharing it. It's beautiful to hear. Uh, and so I just like, if you are, as you have done, stepping into a project, like you stepped into like uh, a community, like intentional community of practice that is like having the intention to be an impact hub, both a co-living and co-working place. I'm just curious, like, what do you take away from that experience of like, wow, I can notice patience, I can notice that I stepped into a bit pushing or forcing. Now I've seen that. What else? What could you have chosen instead? Like now, when you look at it, and also you're leaving, right? You're moving, like you're moving to something new, and new next thing in your life. Like, what would you leave behind?
What I definitely take from this experience, like I will have lived here for half a year, and I'll be leaving in 3 days. Crazy. And for me, it was such a beautiful experience to be part of shaping and co-creating a new community in like these first moments of existence. Such a precious opportunity to be part of that. So I'm deeply, deeply grateful for that, and I I learned a lot. I'm very grateful for all these different learnings of what is important in these moments. What are the ingredients that can contribute to a fertile soil for the community to grow, but for the people to grow as well. And a community is such a complex organism. I realized this is it's not a retreat, and it's also not only an organization. Like a community is an organization. It's also part of its very complex social group field and organism. There's so many things happening at the same time. People are cooking together, working, sharing the space uh, in this beautiful building, which is just very large as well, which is beautiful. So there's a lot of spaciousness. And when people come together, um, all these individual complex social systems come together and things happen. So being part of that and experiencing this development is very, very precious. Um, and this I will take with me to other places that I go to other communities that I might be part of or might also bring into existence this learning of what is important in these times. And I also take with me a lot of beautiful connections and relationships, and very grateful having met people from all over the world that have been living here for from 3 months up to like 1 year, or even a little bit more than 1 year. The longest people, the people that live here longest. That is very inspiring for me to see. And I also take with me being part of this larger ecosystem of different projects that are happening here, and that I can still be part of this. Even I don't know where I will be living, but I will be living somewhere, and that I can still stay connected to that. And I'm just very curious to see the further unfolding of this project. These are, I think, some of the things that I definitely take with me.
And one other thing that I'm really interested in, like, do you have a specific topic that is like a burning desire within you, like that you would like to share and give your nuggets so it can create some waves of change?
For me, what I'm currently most passionate about are my children's books. I'm like, wow, it is so crazy to think about that since 3 weeks, I have 12 books. It's insane. I never imagined that I would write books in the first place. Now it touches me so much to hear from other people. Like yesterday, I got a message from a friend
Mhm.
who said that her daughter, I think she's 4 or 5 years old, is asking her like nearly every evening, could you read me this book again? Could you read me the feelings book again? And it just touches me so much to receive these messages and to have like this fascinating experience of sitting at home or being on a walk and then receiving a message that someone else in the world right now is reading these books. This touches me so much, and I'm very curious of how these books can reach more people. And I have this idea for 2026. It's still an idea. I was like, wow, okay, I'm a musician. I've been on tour as a musician before. I could go on tour with my books. And like, what do people do? Like, what do authors do when they do that? Like,
Yeah, but I also wonder, like, why don't you create some kind of music to your books?
oh, I actually have
So you can actually do touring with music and children, like reading, because that would be amazing. Like to go, like, because author goes on tours and read out of their books to the audience, but like bringing together these beautiful skills you have of like the musician in you, and then the storyteller through the author, and then also the coach, or just like the big brother advisor. Yeah, so I would be like quite fascinating. I would be happy to see if you were like, how could you take book tours to a next level by including different parts of you?
I would love that. I actually thought about that also. I was like, okay, we could do some kind of reading, but then we could also sing together some songs and then have some practices that really connect one another. And having like this one format and then touring around maybe first Germany, but then Europe, but then worldwide, because these books are translated in so many different languages, can happen basically anywhere. And I had actually this one uh, dream that's like, wow, that would be probably the most amazing thing that I can imagine, is to write songs for these different books, and then kids, or so-called grown-ups, could sing these songs, and they contain like super deep learnings about your nervous system, about emotions. And then I would love to go into a studio with the kids choir and have the kids sing these songs, and then publish an album of songs singing their personal development songs, so to say. That would be
I'm
so.
also curious, have you been reading the books into like, for example, Spotify? Like, so you can you can listen to them as well, not only reading the books.
Not yet. I was also planning to do that. I would like to do like a super high-end production on that, having different people speak these different parts. And I was even thinking, oh, I could compose the music, the background music for the audio track. Yes, I'm just like so excited about it. Like, this is an endless world that opens up.
Yeah. Yeah, I know my grandchild, who is 3.5, she's really enjoyed your books. So I've been reading them over and over again for her. The illustrations are very like colorful and beautiful, and also that there's a part of me who can relate to your feeling when you like get text or messages that that has been that there are children out there and parents or other grown-ups enjoying them. Because I've been writing for children books myself, and it is something very specific when you get a text like, "Oh, my 4-year-old, every day for a month we have been reading this as a bedtime story," and it does something for me because I remember books for me when I was a child was very, very important. For me, it opened up different worlds. It gave me a possibility to have a different reality than the reality I was in. So sometimes it was exciting and adventurous. Sometimes it was just comforting. Sometimes it was scary, depending on what I was reading. And I can also see the beauty of my 3.5-year grandchild. It seems that the habit of reading for her every evening since she was 3-4 months has really created a person who loves storytelling. So today she's very often sitting and just listening to stories on audio, and I can really see how she builds a creative imaginary world. And I'm thinking about that, because both you and I are deeply engaged in what is the society that's coming next, after the system we live in today that seems to, getting closer and closer to come to a collapse or a closure of modernity. And one thing that that it seems that we can see is that the human skill of imagination seems to be important, and something that AI can't really do in the way we can. AI can do a lot of things, but it doesn't seem it can do that yet. So it seems that stories and good children books that prepare kids for the skills that is needed in the society that is coming um, seems to be something that's very valuable and meaningful. So I'm very happy you're doing that. So thank you for it.
Welcome. Now, I actually also want to know what sparked your within you this curiosity and this impulse to write books.
Yeah, for me it was I wrote these books. I don't remember if it was 15 years ago or something. And the spark was that by that time I had created my second company that was a children and youth publishing company, because I was working with gender equality and in the school system to educate teachers. And what I could see that they didn't have so much material to support that work. So so me and a colleague, we talked about how can we create pedagogic material and books to support the teacher to be able to do the work they were supposed to do. And then I was out walking, and then just creative spark just hit me, and I actually it felt like a download. Like there was 3 children book coming directly, and I just went home and I put myself at the computer, and in 3 hours I created these books. They were that was a very creative, easy, beautiful process. And I think it was 1.5 year ago, I got uh, a, a package on the post, and then I opened it, and there it was, and it has been given out in Denmark. So they're also being in Danish, both in Swedish and Danish. So I was like, wow, it surprised me, because sometimes some stuff you create gets a life of its own. Uh, and and then the other book, it was creating a storyline of traveling in Asia as a adventurous story for kids. So that was the spark. Yeah. So and then I've been writing one more book. I never published it. I recorded it. So I'm thinking about putting it out there, but I haven't done it yet. Yeah. So that's it.
So exciting.
Yeah, so I'm curious, John, we're coming to an end, and I'm curious of is there something else that wants to be said? Is there something else that feels important for you to share, either as an inspiration of how yeah, that can be like a spark of a waves for a change, or something about your work, or Emerge Lakefront, or you.
Maybe I have two things, and one is a question, because now as we're speaking about it, I get so excited about this tour idea. I'm like, yes, I want to tour the world with my books. And I would love to have like support that maybe there's someone out there listening right now who loves to organize tours for people. And I would love to have support on that. So if someone's listening, that was like yes, that'd be great. Please reach out to me.
And before you move on too fast, so what are the skills that you would love that person to have? And also like a little bit of attitude.
All right. Okay. So I would love someone that, first of all, would love for more children to learn and for their families, because it's not just for the children. The idea is basically that their parents, for example, or other adults, read the book to the children because the children just love the book so much. The thing is, when the parents, for example, read again and again and again about nonviolent communication, at some point you can't undo what you heard. So it's basically kind of a Trojan horse that educates sideways, so to say. And if this person that maybe wants to support me is just passionate about this thought of, yes, let's spread this type of ideas, approaches, and tools, that'd be great. The first part. And the other one, someone just loves to organize maybe events or gatherings and reaching out to other organizations. Could be cultural organizations, could be schools, it could be festivals, this could be companies, and just reaching out to them and saying like, hey, this could be an experience for you. It might involve music and reading and a little workshop. And if this person loves to organize that's it. That's basically it. I would love to receive that.
Beautiful. Thank you, John. And I also just want to say I really appreciate, like in this conversation, I can notice, like I can sense your warmth and your passion for what you're doing. So I hope your adventure will be meaningful and fulfilling going forward.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think this is the last impulse that I might want to share with the world. I really wished for everyone um, that everyone can have this experience of what it feels to feel love and more love in the life and more inner peace and freedom, and that it comes with this courage of I dare to be me. And I want to send this courage out into the world, that people can dare to be themselves and feel the love for themselves and of others. And this is my great wish for the world, and I hope to make my tiny little contribution with being me. I hope that serves. And I'm very grateful for this conversation.
And I think if I remember right, you had a character in one of your books that calls wish beings, right? So I'm like inviting in one of the wish beings to hear your wishes and let us be in the imaginary realm a bit, and hopefully it will be manifested. Yeah, thank you.